Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. Welcome to Universal Peace Television, the channel or PC Hoffman, double F, double N on YouTube. Today's broadcast will be about this watch, the Metawatch, and the firmware for it. It's special because it has an e-ink display, also called a transflective display or memory LCD. And this one has a mirror effect. It's the only watch that has this, the Metawatch. This is the WDS112. So this is the broadcast Metawatch firmware 1.5.5, how to update. So let's go to the GitHub message that I posted a little while ago. Let's see. There it is. Okay. So we can read this out. Basically, I bought this watch on eBay. I've also mailed to seller about firmware because there is a firmware update to 1.5.5, which I can also show that. So I sort of collect these watches, something disconnected supposedly, though I didn't touch any cables or anything. Perhaps they're sabotaging my camera. Yep. You see, if I move, then I don't move. It's frozen. So, but I don't need it anyway. It's I was going to look up that file. So basically you have the updater. Let's see if I can find it here. Metawatch updater to 155. It's zipped. And it looks like this when it's unzipped. And then every time when I connect the watch, I get the message clip not found. And I've tried several things. So the problem is I cannot get that to work, but I have been able to update the watch to Gen 1. That's firmware version 1.5.1. And Gen 2 didn't work, so I want to know what the difference between Gen 1 and Gen 2 is. And also I'm going to read this. And the software I've used for this, I've also attempted to install this. Basically, if you go to File Manager, Task Manager, I think it is. I usually do it like right mouse clicking on Start, and here we have Device Manager. Then it lists something among the COM ports basically. And that's after I have installed other software, which was a very large file that may have been installed unnecessarily. Well, I'd have to connect the watch to show it. I could do that fast. If I have the clip. Oh, it's still over there. I'm getting it now. So I still have to test the battery life on this. And I know it is possible to put the other firmware on it, or actually I don't know if that's possible. Hey, now the watch seems to reset when I attach the clip. That is not straight into the USB port. If I unclip it, it says Metawatch hands freedom on the screen. Start NWM phone app. Fuck. Wow, so attaching the clip reset the watch, that's also a bummer. Well, then I could reinstall the firmware now.
C.
The message, you know. Then I can show how I did that basically. So after installing certain drivers or whatever, let's see where I have that stuff. Oh yeah, I installed CCS7 for this thing, and it changes this. I don't know what it was before, but it changes it into MSP430 application, which is needed for the installment of the firmware. Installing it requires certain other stuff. So here, this is the generation 1 firmware. I could try generation 2 again, but I would like to know if that also works, if that also should work on this watch, or if this is a generation 1 watch that can only run the generation 1 firmware, and if somebody has the 155 firmware. So first you have to install the TI Launchpad USB driver. I probably still have the links in here. I will now have to update the firmware again because it reset the watch that was attaching the clip that is not attached to the USB. That reset it for me. Metawatch developers wiki. Here you see the manual that you have to follow for this update of the firmware. And the steps are easy. It is doable, but the watch was not functioning after it. The strange thing is that the left top button gives me an LED light on and the right top button turns it off. So the buttons have other functions than they had originally. I took a picture of the firmware that was on the watch originally, which I can check for this video. Okay. Version 0.7.28, 0.7.28, stack 1117, MSI 430 revision E or something. So Launchpad driver is installed. You need FatPro 430 Lite from Alprotronic, and that's this program. Oh wow, then I have to start it from the directory where I installed it, which is in C programs. Program files 86. So because it's a 64-bit machine, the files are, if they're 64-bit, they're installed in program files, and if they're not 64-bit, they're installed in program files x86. And you can install this program to any directory you want. So you don't need the CSS or CCS or whatever it is called. It's a very large program that also installed the same driver as I didn't open it in a different gallery. TI Launchpad USB driver. And after you install it, you can see in Device Manager that it looks like MSP430 application, which maybe Texas Instruments, the internals of the watch, the movement. And then you can program that yourself with this program. So that's this thing. So then I could try again if it could detect the clip now. Try the 155 software update. But this is still filled in the way it was. But on in another manual they claim that you should switch off power device from adapter. And then the question is how to do that. Is it done by putting this on external? Because in the pictures they've pictures with the manual, they put it on 2.3 volts, and the problem was that it did not reset the watch. When I pushed reset, it was not resetting, but that may have been because of the wrong firmware that I installed on it. Theoretically. But now the watch was functioning again, and I charged it also. It's fully charged, and then when you reconnect the cable without a charger attached, then it can reset the watch apparently. So basically the Pebble and the Mesfit base, etc. are better because the Metawatch website disappeared, like the Microware website. But for Pebble, most stuff still works, etc. And Mesfit base as well. So I used the thing, the Fed Pro. So I could try installing Generation 2, should that also work for this watch, but I'd rather have, I'm looking for firmware 1.5.5, because I want to have the timer function. That's the most used function on my watches, basically. That's why I usually wear a digital watch of some type with a timer. So these old e-ink display watches are pretty cheap, available, pretty cheap used watches on eBay, etc. for very low prices. And I'm a watch collector, so that's what I'm spending a lot of time on as well, finding these ultra cheap, great deals. So when the other program works, and it does because I updated the firmware to version 151 with the program that I've just shown, then this clip should also be detected by this Metawatch updater to 155. And perhaps now it reset with the clip, perhaps now it can find it. Looking for watch clip not detected. Also on another PC, it's not detecting the watch clip, which was used to program it, so it is also a programming clip. And you can update the firmware to 151, and then you have at least 4 watch faces or so that work. Not all of them work, then you need 155. So it would be very nice if somebody could upload a version you can install with the other installer, because this watch clip is not working for many people. Or perhaps someone knows how to fix this. I've also installed this driver, the setup, but after that I have installed this thing, CCS 7.4, which is taking a lot of disk space. So I wanted to uninstall that, so let's uninstall that. I usually use the IOBit uninstaller for this. And you have to watch out that you don't delete files that your system needs if you're doing the complete uninstall, which I usually do. So it uninstalls more than the Windows uninstaller uninstalls. So that's why I usually use the IOBit uninstaller Freeware. If there's a better one, you can always Skype me, Prologic999 on Skype. And it was tested recently, and I think Skype should work now. Why is IOBit uninstaller not starting up? Apparently it has closed the application I used to start it up. Alright, it starts with an F, I thought. Find and run row was it's called. A bit better than the launchy app. Or not, perhaps some people prefer launchy. So I now use the dial number 1 dial pad. Number 1 started the app instead of double clicking on it. Usually search on the install date. So that's Code Composer Studio, and you can see it takes 1.36 gigabytes on my SD drive, so I'm going to uninstall that. And then I can install the driver or whatever it is again later if I have to. And it took a long time to install, so it will probably take pretty long to uninstall as well. But this way I'm professionally logging everything I'm doing, so that we can see what I did wrong. Let's see in the meantime if I can find the other manual. There's also this, it doesn't have the 1.55 firmware that I'm seeking. It is 0.7 point something and 3.1.0. But I downloaded these D43 files from a GitHub page somewhere. And I use cached pages to visit certain pages that are not available anymore. Metawatch website disappeared. So I'm surprised no one else is asking these questions and stuff. Perhaps they thought, well, I have another better watch and I've wasted enough time on this thing already. But it would be nice if we could make it work for everyone. So there are others that have the same problems with the Metawatch I am having. And the firmware update to 1.5.5 seems to be for the strata and not for the frame. And I have the frame, so the strata is, looks a bit different. So basically these are different versions. We also have a silver on the side, which I think is cool with the display also. Though some might find it ugly, and it might be nice to buy this white one because of the reflective screen. So it's not black and white like you see on the pictures, but rather mirror and white. So what's black on these pictures is in reality mirror. So that's the WDS112 with the black sides that they also offer on eBay for $20–30 or something like that plus shipping. And I think it's cool. There's an e-ink display, so it stays on much longer than a normal Android watch or Android Wear watches that show a little fucking plane on the screen when you turn off the cancer cell phone radiation. And it's also quite cool that there's that mirror. So then you can invert the settings, so you can invert the display, and then most of the screen will be a mirror, and then you can check your eyes or look at yourself, basically. But this is the Metawatch Strata, but it supposedly uses the same firmware, so I'm wondering how could I make the clip detect? How can I let the clip be detected by that software? And perhaps I have to uninstall Composer Studio for it. And another thing is I don't know how to uninstall these drivers. Okay. Wrong thing. This directory, the CDM 2824 setup. And you have to install this in administrator mode. So So then the question is, how could I uninstall these drivers that it has installed? And that's for this 1.5.5 updater, but after installing them it didn't work either. And to use the other firmware installer, you have to use the So I don't have a Metawatch M1, I just downloaded programs for that as well, to check compatibility and stuff, which I think I did it, I didn't, I think it won't work for this watch. TI Launchpad USB driver, so that one, I will reinstall this. It might be the same thing as the other thing, the other driver, but I doubt it. So let's see how we're doing on uninstall. That is taking long. But I find the white one a bit feminine. And if it's dark in your room, it reflects black, and so then it looks like black on white, white on black, like this. The seller has not responded on eBay to my request for firmware and how to get it to work. I've even threatened to send back the watch because at that time I had not been able to install the 1.5.1 firmware, the Generation 1 update. So I was unable to use the watch. But I'm not going to send it back because I now know that this exists, so there may be a way to get that 1.5.5 firmware on there somehow. And I think that no matter what you do, as long as you don't change certain settings in that firmware updater program, then it cannot get bricked in a way that you cannot reinstall, reflash it, as they call it. And sometimes you have to wait until the battery is empty. The battery may also be soldered. I'm not certain about this. Can I just... I have had the watch open, and then the question is, can I just flip the battery out? There's a small hole on one side and you could stick a toothpick or something in it. Or is it soldered to the watch somehow? Doesn't look like it's soldered. Perhaps older versions have a soldered thing. I've seen pictures of other people that opened it that look different from my watch. This looks newer and more stable. Than the board they were showing. So this may be a later version. And you have to watch out that you don't install the firmware for this watch for the analog watch. But even if you do, then you can reflash it and then you have to wait. So probably my theory is that I had to wait till the battery died. And I did that by pushing that light button, to keep, and that stays on for a couple of minutes. And then you have to press the light button every time it goes out to drain the battery. Then after a while you can try reconnecting it. And then it should reset and show the new firmware that you have installed. Of course, I do not take any responsibility if it goes wrong. It's all people's own responsibility, and it would be nice if these companies could build a normal Android watch that can run all Android apps with an e-ink display and a 720p camera, And the ability to turn off the cancer Bluetooth, so airplane mode is also important. Otherwise I will not buy it. You have a Mesfit Bip, for example, which is a watch that you can keep on for 45 days, but you cannot turn off the cancer Bluetooth. And then there are some others. Sony also has smartwatches with an e-ink display, and smartwatch 2 may stay on longer than the smartwatch 3. And I also don't really like the looks of the smartwatch 3. It's always a plasticky black thing around your wrist. And I think it's cool these e-ink displays always stay on. I think a lot more can be done qua software, and the watch is merely a piece of hardware. And good software, for example, Apple has nice smooth scrolling and stuff, and that can be made easily for Android as well. And of course they've removed the App Store from iTunes, so they're insane, and I made a broadcast about that as well. Several people have also complained that it doesn't just make it so that you have to use the cancer cell phone radiation to install any iPhone apps, but it also takes longer to do it that way than via cable. So many people hope they bring back the App Store in iTunes, and otherwise they will not buy Apple products anymore like me. So it might be a move of Microsoft or whatever. Apple also did other things recently that were strange. Or by the people with synthetic telepathy capability that are crashing all other companies and all the corporations that are not tax exempt or whatever. So tax exempt corporations do not pay taxes like you all do. And because you have paid taxes, they are supposed to protect and serve you, not to depopulate you and torture you at will. More about my anti-global government movement program in previous broadcasts on this channel. So how long is this going to take? Is it hanging on uninstalling Code Composer Studio? Or is there, I think it just takes a long time. Because of the way it is constructed or something. So you all can just fast forward to the point where this is uninstalled. Check if my Sony cam works now. Oh, there's water on the window, that's why it looks like it drops. I could remove. But this is an idea of the weather, the live weather in Mijdrecht. I think we've had some hail last night. But it seems to be slow because of the uninstall not taking place. CPU usage at 50 to 70%. Perhaps it helps if I close virtual DJ. It also takes some memory, CPU. So I'm just gonna wait for this to uninstall, and then I'll try the clip again, if it detects the clip now, which I doubt. I also wonder if for this version install of 1.5.5 to 1.5.5 updater you also need the programming clip, perhaps. Which I don't have, but it should work via this clip because I've updated the firmware to 1.5.1 from 0.7 something. And then the trick is reset all the widgets to get it to work, to display some of the watch faces also. Okay. So here you see all the settings they use for the firmware update. So the code file is the firmware file, which in this case is a D43 file. So I'm looking for a D43 version of the 1.5.5 firmware. It would be nice if somebody could Skype me or upload it or send an address where it is downloadable. And I'm sure there are people out there that have it. But perhaps everyone that has it on there has updated with it. Oh yeah, I was going to try the updater file first. Perhaps I first have to restart my PC. So I suspect it won't work, also not after restarting, but I have to try it to know for sure. Well, this address is linked, so I can restart it again after I restart the PC. So let's see if I can now get the thing to work. So that's the web address where I downloaded it. Metawatch org, assets, images, developers, TI launchpad, USB drive or zip from cached-pages.com. The fucking clip is not detected, loser. See? So, then I better restart my PC because my camera is also gone. And then I'll be back with the second part of this broadcast, I presume, if nothing goes wrong, for universal peace.